Hi, my name's Stacy. Welcome back to my channel. It's just Anxiety 23. I've been wondering what I was going to talk about, kind of pondering ideas, and a friend of mine sent a message. Why don't you talk about high school? We were friends in high school, and he knew me very well. Both my parents were teachers. They taught in the district that I went to school in. My father was a special ed teacher, so did predominantly speech therapy. And so he would rotate to all the elementary schools. So he was known. And then my mother taught high school, taught junior high for a few years, but she was in the district for well over 25 years. She started in another district next to us. And then in the 80s, when there were strikes, she ended up working another year in the city next to us. But by and large, out of the 37 years she taught, she was in the same district. And I was one of those kids that I was wild, but I knew I couldn't be wild at school. So I skipped school all the time because I was bullied in elementary school because I hit puberty young. So I was 5 foot tall with acne in third grade. And kids can be very mean. And, my parents really kind of came from a much older school where it was like, well, shit happens. And what did you do to start it? It's like, I didn't do anything to start it. I showed up and they were mean. It made me be a real bitch back. I'm sure if you talk to people that I went to high school with, they can tell you I had a temper and a nasty streak, which you get when you're an only child. And I was adopted, so you get that's a massive insecurity. And my parents were older. They were 35 when they adopted me, so they were in their 40s by the time I started school. I had my youngest at 32, and I can tell you the energy I had with my first two that I had at 25 and 26, I did not have at 32. Plus, I was dealing with chronic pain, which my father also dealt with. So, I was able to much better understand when I was an adult why he couldn't go to certain events that I wanted him to go to. I was a competitive swimmer and swam varsity, and he wouldn't be able to go, or he'd be able to go for one event and have to go home. And I understand that. I miss my oldest son Noah. He played varsity hockey, varsity tennis, and varsity golf. And well, you can't really watch him play golf. I barely made it to tennis in his first year of hockey. It was before I got my pain under control. I think I made it to one game. Um, I felt horrible about it, but I couldn't do anything. Once he was a sophomore, my daughter was a freshman, my doctors got me, and it was through my obstetrician who I've gone to forever. He sent me to a really good doctor that got my pain under control. And then I was able to get back to work and have some quality of life because, I was bedridden in pain for better part of a decade. It was not good. But anyway, back to high school. I was wild, but I knew I had to maintain my grades. So I would skip school, but I'd do my homework. And as soon as, I got my driver's license, my birthday's in February, so I got it my sophomore year. I graduated early. I went to summer school so I could get my English credit because I'd gone to Catholic school for a year. So I had 2 extra credits from the religion classes you'd take there because they had 7 classes, not 6. So I had 2 extra classes, and then I just needed the English class, and I was able to walk out in 3.5 years, which was great because I didn't like it. Hate every second of it by and large. But you could not pay me any amount of money to go back in time, and even knowing what I know now, and relive those years. They were so painful. You couldn't pay me to go back before I was like 44, maybe 45. Those years were so painful. My kids were there, but the physical pain, the psychological pain, then the government cutting down on, narcotics, which I understand there's an addiction problem, dealt with it in my own family. But I have real, genuine chronic pain and have never been addicted to pain medicine. I need a certain amount that is regulated by my doctors, and I can function just fine. And my life has been great since then. But I did live this very split life in high school where I would be out all night partying, but I worked 2 jobs. I had a co-op job where I worked at a doctor's office, after school, or like from 1 to 4. And then I'd go and work 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 at Chi-Chi's restaurant. It was a huge corporation. And I started there as a hostess, became a service assistant, which is basically like a bustler. Um, I learned to line cook and prep cook there. I learned to do dishes there. So, I did everything short of bartending there. I did go to bartending school right out of high school because I had that semester off. I was accepted and wanted to go to NYU. My parents, they felt I wasn't mature enough. They didn't realize I had issues here I was trying to get away from. So they didn't let me go. I ended up going to Eastern Michigan kind of last minute. They were alumni, so I was able to apply and get accepted because, obviously my grades were high enough to get into NYU's finance program. They were high enough to get in anywhere. But yeah, I definitely lived a split life where I did my homework. I had straight A's. I was respectful to my teachers when I went. And then I would be up at the party store selling dime bags at lunch. Hell, that was back in like 1993, 30 years ago. I was young and stupid. I wasn't even 18 at the time, so, I don't have a problem talking about it because statute of limitations and I was a child, I'm 48 years old. That was over 30 years ago, 31 years ago. But, it was difficult psychologically, and I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. My husband and I were dating, sort of. We were seeing each other. We had an open relationship because we were friends with benefits for a very long time, and then we were living together, but we still weren't exclusive per se. We were sort of exclusive, but not entirely exclusive. It was kind of a weird, defined relationship till we got married. You know, but yeah, he and I had our own issues that we fought about, and I was with him in high school, so he's 5 years older than me. So I was 17, he was 22, just turned 23. So I would skip high school to go hang out with him. And, I ended up developing a hell of a drinking problem because that was going to solve my problems. If I could just get drunk and not remember, and somehow maintain that state and still go to college and go to work. Like, no, life doesn't work like that. And thank God I haven't drank in years and I don't crave it anymore. It just slowly went away. I woke up one day and was like, I don't feel like drinking today. And then, like, even now, I was a bartender for years. Like I said, I went to bartending school. And, I like to I go out with my husband or with my kids. Two of them are over 21. They're old enough to drink. And, I'll read the drink menu. It doesn't bother. It doesn't cause cravings. I'll see something. I'll be like, that looks like it would taste really good. Like a mixed drink, something I would never, you can't buy it. I don't like the pre-mixed ones. And, I'm not buying 15 different bottles of alcohol to make it for myself at home. So, but you know what? Anytime I've gotten one, my husband and I had split a little, like, I don't know, it had 15 kinds of like fruit juice in it with like some kind of like Malibu rum and, like peach schnapps. Didn't have a lot of there was no like vodka or it was like, a fruity kind of tropical drink. And we had it at a really nice seafood restaurant in Nashville. We were with Xavier. And my kids do not like when I drink on vacation because I have had a history of drinking way too much and making an ass of myself at hockey tournaments. So, but I had a sip and I said, oh, that tastes pretty good. Doesn't really have a lot of alcohol taste. It's not very strong. My husband took a sip and and he's never been a drinker. So between the two of us, we didn't even finish it. And it wasn't a strong drink. It had a nice flavor, but I didn't want the headache that would come with the buzz. I got sick of being hungover, and I just prayed, and prayed, God, please take this away. I can't live like this. I don't want to live like this. But I'm gonna have Bill on as soon as I can figure out how to record. I'm gonna try to see if I can do it from my tablet. If not, I may have to go to my son's house to do it on his PC. Um, so that will be coming. But yeah, I from the time I started partying, which was sort of in 8th grade, but really in high school, much more so, until I got married. A lot of that I was hiding from my parents. Some things better than others. I never really hid my relationship with my husband, but because I was friends with his sisters, no one in his family could know. But ironically, all the guys knew. So my brother-in-law knew, my father-in-law didn't. But like, when I say the guys, um, my one sister-in-law had 2 boyfriends. One she married, the other she dated for like 7 years. He knew. Um, the neighbor that they all grew up with, who we used to get dime bags from, he knew. All of my husband's friends knew because I was the only girl that would go hang out and watch football all day. Like, there might be other girls that stopped by for a little bit, but nobody hung out. Nobody went out to dinner with him. Nobody hung out with his friends. You know what I mean? Like, we'd all pile up in my car and go hang out. They'd be like, "Hey, your wife, where's your wife?" And I mean, we weren't even exclusive. And all his friends were like, "Yeah, you bring in your wife. Can we ever get you alone without you?" And it wasn't me saying, "Oh, I need," it wasn't that kind of relationship. His friends just liked me, and they knew way before he did that I was the best thing that ever happened to him, or whatever happened to him, at least so far. And so for years, they were like, "Yeah, your wife, your wife, your wife." But I had to keep that hidden from his sisters. So I couldn't park in front of the house. I had to park a street over and run through the alley. I mean, my high school years were crazy. They were crazy. No wonder I had anxiety so bad, you know, having a secret relationship. We kept that secret for 3 years before they found out. Oh, and I still don't speak to my sister-in-law. I don't wish her any ill will. She has diabetes and she has a lot of complications. I wish her nothing but the best. She, she just, our personalities conflict. She brings out my worst side, not my best side. So I love her from a distance. I do see my father-in-law occasionally. My youngest son lives with him, but he spends a lot of time over at my sister-in-law's houses because they live a block apart. So, he goes to the one, either house, and the other shows up at, it's easy for him to visit them. But in terms of me, I don't have much of a relationship with them. Um, but I'm happy. So, don't have anything bad to say about them. Or if they were in my life, I'd be like, they need to go. Not one of them, not the other. One of them very much minds her own business. The other is very much up in everyone's business. And I just don't like that. I try to keep things calm and on an even keel. And if you want to come in my life and upset that balance, I will just politely kind of just push you out of the way. You're going to get that strong arm like in football. Like when a runner's got that stiff arm out to keep someone from coming in. So, yeah, that's just a little bit more about me, kind of how I think, how I got to where I'm at, and, a little bit about my life. So, Bill, thanks for giving me the idea. Hopefully, I can get you on soon. Like I said, I'm gonna give me a call, and then if we can do it like through Skype or something through my computer, like my little tablet. It's not an Apple though, so I don't know how well it'll work because everything goes through my phone, and like I said, I'm not very techie. But if that doesn't work, I can call Noah and make plans to go over and use his PC. So, anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out and sticking out the video. Please, if you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I try to upload a couple videos a day. They're usually not this long. But unless somebody gives me a topic to talk about, otherwise they're just kind of short. Hey, I'm doing okay, or hey, I'm not okay. I'm freaking out. And I'm having horror. But getting on here helps the anxiety. You know, it gives me something to do, something to focus on. So it is therapeutic in a way. Um, so thank you for watching. Please share the video out to your friends if you think they'd enjoy it and get anything out of it. Um, and like I said, subscribe. That's the biggest thing, is I need subscribers. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And, you know, if you have ways of coping with anxiety, if you have ways of coping with difficult family members, or like I had the video yesterday up about how I quit smoking cigarettes. If you have any suggestions about how you quit anything, I will be more than happy to talk about it. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.